Coming up, we experienced the holiday celebration happening at Universal's Islands of Adventure, and we're excited to share all about it on this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams. I'm joined alongside by my co-host, Ryno.
Hello.
And we have a really fun episode for you today. We are talking about the holidays and not just talking about what's coming for the holidays. They are here. In this episode, we're going to stick primarily over, and not primarily, just completely over in Universal's Islands of Adventure, talking about Grinchmas, the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular, talking about what's going on in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, and basically just sticking to that. And then in a future episode, we'll talk more about what's happening across the way at Universal Studios Florida. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a great time experiencing everything there was to experience for the holidays. So before we get to that just pure jolly madness, I want to remind you that this is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, please remember that the best way to do that is by booking a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money, and you get the awesome support of a Dreams Unlimited travel agent. So, for a free, no obligation quote, head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today. Also, if you're interested in more exclusive DIS content, you can always sign up to be a member of our Patreon community. We do at least 2 special shows a week, a Patreon after show after our Tuesday Walt Disney World show, as well as Games and Dreams on Saturday nights with Pete. So, if you want to support us even more, besides booking a vacation, you can always do so through Patreon. But, Ryno, are you wearing your jingle bells today?
You just can't see them.
Okay, fantastic. Right below the frame.
Yes, right below the frame, I am jingle bells from waist to toes.
Excellent. I am excited for that. I can't wait to hear them ringing, jingling all episode long. And like I already said multiple times now, we are going to talk about all of the holiday celebrations happening at Universal's Islands of Adventure. And, you know, at first, when we decided to split up our holiday coverage, something we don't normally do. Usually we break it, we put it all together in one piece. But this time around, I was like, let's break it up a little bit. Let's not overdo it. You can do everything for the holidays in one day at Universal Orlando. If you only have that one day, you can make sure you get it all done. You don't even need to do something like the Universal's holiday tour. Just study the times for the different shows and come up with a good strategy. Like the one thing, the Universal's holiday parade over in Universal Studios Florida, that happens at 5:30. So there's no wiggle room on that. But Grinchmas shows many times throughout the day. The Frog Choir singing many times throughout the day. Celestina singing throughout the day. There's a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can all plan it. But, not everyone does buy that 2-park pass. Some people just stick with the 1-park pass. So that's kind of why I wanted to really break it down. Like, what do you get out of each park? Is there enough going on for Islands of Adventure that it's worth the price of admission for the holidays? And so I want to pose that question first. Ryno, do you think, based off of what we went through today, is it worth it to go to Islands of Adventure for the holidays?
I mean, it's the park is pretty. I mean, the Seuss landing area is always decked out. Like every area, it is very clearly Grinchmas. The second it starts there, who's everywhere, entertainment everywhere. But you'd think like, oh, well, they'll just keep it to that park. But even anywhere else we walked around, there was like decorations and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know that it really carries through other than Potter and Grinch to like, or excuse me, Potter and Seuss Landing to like other areas of the park in terms of that. But I mean, I look at it in comparison to what do you get during the day at Walt Disney World for the holidays, and other than like the one cavalcade that kind of goes through every now and then, it feels like there's more offerings at Universal Orlando. So I'd say if you're trying to look for something for the Christmas spirit, I don't know that I would plan a trip separately for it, but I would definitely choose to. I feel like it puts me in a more holiday mood than the other one. I hate to compare the two because it is two different experiences, but it's just like I try to think, okay, I've got one day and I've got to get in the Christmas spirit. Where do I think that's going to inject me the most? And I don't know. I love the Grinch. I don't know. So
Yeah, it's
I know that
tough.
didn't really answer the question.
Oh,
Is it worth the ticket for those experiences? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a fair and valid answer, and maybe you'll have a better idea of it by the time we're finished with this episode. But that's why I wanted to pose it right up front. For me, I think I have a little bit more of a solid answer to this question. But I did want to, I wanted to bring up though, just because you mentioned it, like you're talking about at Walt Disney World in terms of what you get for free during the day for the holidays. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, they have Santa on a motorcade car that comes through, and that's one of the offerings. However, I was also at Hollywood Studios on a day where Santa was having some sort of issues, and so he wasn't able to come out on his motorcade. And so then in a situation like that, I'm like,
eggnog.
Yeah, probably too much eggnog. I don't know what happened. I don't know if one of the reindeer got run over by grandma. I have no idea what happened, but I was like, here I am for Hollywood Studios for this Holly Jolly Fund. I've got to come up with better Christmas descriptors than Holly Jolly. Like
this Yuletide carol.
Yeah,
Carol didn't even show.
Yeah, if I had enough time, what I would be doing is I'd be putting up like a Holly Jolly counter. So that way, every single time I say it, it checks it off and you can take your drink at home. I don't have time.
Jingle bell rings.
Yeah, I don't have time to do that because we are recording this episode very close to the deadline of it going live out there for everyone. So that'll be in the next one around. But yeah, so I'm there at Hollywood Studios looking for that festive fun, and it's just not even. It's not even there. So it was funny that you brought that up because it's a lot harder to get that holiday spirit at a lot of Walt Disney World, I will say. Once Epcot is kicked into Festival of the Holidays with the different like Santas around World Showcase and the other holiday storytellers and candlelight processional, that's a little bit different. But it still is worth always pointing out because remember, everything we are talking about in this episode specifically, this is all available with the inclusion of your park ticket. It's all included in your park ticket. No extra money was being spent on any of this. So let's break down. Actually, I didn't answer my own question with this. So I'm all over the place. This is why we don't record late at night ever. So my mind's not working well. But long story short on all this is that I actually would say that for me, I don't think Islands of Adventure by itself is as worth it for Christmas, but I am not a huge fan of the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular. I think it's a very nice show. It's probably an excellent show if you've never seen it before. But now that I'm going on my 10th year of watching the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular, and it has only changed slightly throughout the years. Some major upgrades to the sets and stuff, and a big upgrade to talk about this year with it. But in general, it's the same show, the same music, so it's starting to wear on me. But I remember still the first time I saw it. And it was my parents came down to visit me at Christmas time. And so we went around one day just seeing all the holiday stuff. Happened to coincide with the date that Mannheim Steamroller was playing at Universal Studios Ford as well, too. So we did everything. And I was blown away. It's like, how is this included in everything. Like this is a legitimate show. But let's talk about everything that you can do for the holidays at Islands of Adventure. And I'm skipping like going around looking at decorations. Yeah, there's decorations throughout all the parks. There's trees set up in the gift shops and in dining areas. It's all beautiful. It just adds to the aesthetic. But the real things, as Ryno mentioned, Seuss Landing is home of Grinchmas. And Seuss Landing is, I would easily say, it's the most decorated for this time of year. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Hogsmeade is a close second, but to me, Seuss Landing just goes a little bit further. But I feel like that's also because it does have that strong connection with Grinchmas. And throughout your day in Seuss Landing, you will see plenty of Who's from Whoville. And they are very active. Some of the interactions I had with them was just pretty great, and that comes from me being pretty terrified of them. I am creeped out by the Who's, but they were really in character, full blown, and messing with my camera and doing the whole shtick of what is this device? What is this thing? I don't think that was a great impression, but I said it nonetheless. It actually happened to us twice. Now that I think about it, I forgot about the guy who was standing right behind me, and you were just like, Craig, he's right there.
I guess it was like, I don't know what to do. There's a Who right here. Help me. Help me.
It was pretty funny. And at one point in time, I saw some of the Who's also singing carols, which was like entertainment right next to the line for the Grinch. So that was like a nice benefit. Sometimes there in that area, they're doing, the stories you'll hear, and you'll see some of the Dr. Seuss characters around there. But in my one moment that I was walking through there, I was hearing the Who's singing Christmas Carol. It was really, really wonderful. But above all, the big thing in Seuss Landing is the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular, a 25-minute plus retelling of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, specifically the Jim Carrey live action telling of that story, just condensed down, very musical with music done by Mannheim Steamroller, and we'll get to all that in a second. But then in terms of what else is offered there, I mentioned you can meet the Grinch. That is one of the offerings that you do have at Islands of Adventure. And then finally, back in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you have decorations throughout, but the big stuff is during the day, you can hear the Frog Choir sing holiday songs, and not standard Christmas songs. I'll say that much. It's you do have a little bit of carols in there, but
I was going to say one Christmas song.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a medley though in our case, but. Yeah, in general, do not expect like a full Christmas show. You will be disappointed in that regard, but we'll get to it again. We're just going over everything. And then at nighttime, Hogwarts Castle lights up with the magic of Christmas at Hogwarts Castle, a projection show that gave me goosebumps the first time we saw it, however many years ago, and still continues to wow me to this day. But that is it for the offerings at Islands of Adventure. So, Ryno, where do we want to start? Do we want to start with how our day went, or do we want to start with Seuss Landing and Grinchmas and move back?
I mean, I think we should do it how our day went, because I feel like it's like, how would a normal day go for people?
Okay. That's fair enough. So in our situation, our plan was to get for the day that we are specifically there, which was earlier in today, as of the day that we're recording this, we were planning on arriving at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. I can't remember which time exactly, but the first Grinchmas show was supposed to happen at 11:30. And ultimately, we missed it, because anytime Ryno and I say we're going to show up somewhere on time, you can guarantee we're going to be about 30 minutes late for it. So we screwed up our plans with the first day, the first showing of Grinchmas that we were trying to attend. So that kind of made us really think about some things, because the scheduling is easy enough that you can move around, but at the same time too, it was like a Grinchmas show at 11:30, a Grinchmas show at 12:30, but then the Frog Choir was like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, then not again till 1:30, and then even later after that. So it was like we were kind of trying to find the best fit. So ultimately, the first thing we did was we went to the Frog Choir at 12 o'clock, right? Noon on the dot. And we actually got there about 10 minutes before the show so we could be right on the rope and make sure that we had a front row view of the frogs and the Hogwarts students singing their songs. So let's just briefly take a listen to what that sounded like. Ryno, I know you. I know you hate the Frog Choir. You hate them so much. So tell me, what do you think about the version of this Frog Choir show, the holiday version?
I think the holiday version's fine. My thing is just I am not a fan of the acapella music. It stresses me out, the guttural sounds that they make with their mouths. And so watching the one who was, I feel like, solely responsible for that, which was the Gryffindor, he kind of looked miserable the whole time. But some of them were like the Slytherin girl was really into it, and I was like, okay, she's fun. But my God, that one guy, I felt bad for him because I was like, today's not his day. He is not feeling it today. But I don't know. Honestly, I was watching. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they can keep rhythm, because even if they're not making the sound of the frogs, which they're not, obviously, because I think that's physically impossible, but that's still the fact that because the frogs are on a different beat than what they're singing, because the frogs are like the other side. So it's like they're doing the a cappella music while also trying to just keep the frog's mouth moving in rhythm and time. So it's like two different times that are going at the same time. And I was kind of like, this is a really hard thing to be doing. Like, not only are you singers and performers out here, and that's already challenging enough, but you're also like it's like chewing gum and rubbing your stomach, or what's the thing that people want you to do? Rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time.
Yes.
It's like takes that extra special type of concentration.
I will dust off my musical background, which I'm not very good at music, even though I've got guitars sitting behind me. But the term that we're going with this, I believe, if I'm correct, is syncopation. And so that, you can see that in the same thing with like really skilled piano players, where, you're using two hands playing completely different things at the same time. And, drummers also have that too, where the beat of the bass drum is sometimes going to be in different time than what you're doing with the rest of the drums that you're playing. And I mean, that's kind of like perfectly matching exactly what you said in terms of what's happening with the frogs. I mean, they're singing their thing, but then in their minds, they also, I'm assuming that they have their little handle. I'm assuming they're triggering the sound and such as it's going along. To be quite honest with you, literally, I would be in the break room right beside where they would practice, but we kind of always just like avoided each other. So I never took the time to really pay attention to them and learn that. But they are definitely talented. I will say that. I don't typically care for the songs. It's not really my thing. Even their normal show, I don't really care for the Frog Choir. It's better at the holidays, but overall, for me, this is the extra. The big selling points of Islands of Adventure is the magic of Christmas at Hogwarts Castle at night, starting around dusk, I think maybe like 6:30ish, and then Grinchmas. So this is just like that other one, like, oh, you want a little extra holiday spirit? We also have that for you. And yeah, it's perfectly fine. But like in our situation, yeah, we waited 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead of time for the show. You don't have to do that. Literally just be in the area listening to it, and that will still give you that holiday feeling as you're around there. But the decision that we made with this was, okay, we're seeing this show at 12 o'clock. Outside Grinchmas in Seuss Landing, there's a sign up there that says you need to arrive 20 to 30 minutes before the show for seating. So Frog Choir show was about like 8 minutes, give or take 8-9 minutes. So it started at 12, ended just shy of 12:10. So we made the decision at that point. We're like, I actually think we might be able to make it. I think we kind of like felt like, okay, well, we can always go do a food review in between Frog Choir and the following Grinchmas, because we probably won't be able to make it till 12:30, because the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular in the past was very, very difficult to get a seat for. And granted, it's still very early in the season. We were there on a Thursday, so not typically a busy day. The park did not feel busy at all. It felt pretty slow for, this time of year in general, especially the week before Thanksgiving. It was slow. But what transpired next truly, truly shocked me. So the entrance for the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular is right in between Circus McGurkus Cafe Stupendous, as well as the One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. The same place it's always been, but the difference, as we've mentioned on at least one show, is that it's no longer inside the sound stages. It is now taking place in Blue Man Group. And this is roughly 1,000 seat theater, because I'm not sure if every single one of them is able to be used, if they had to modify a little bit of it, but a big theater. And I will say with that too, this theater is meant for an actual show. So the seats, as we kind of like talked about it the last time we talked about the move into Blue Man Group with this and our speculation on it, it went from being like seats on uncomfortable bleachers and risers before, when it was in the soundstage, because it was also temporary. The seating inside Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular this year, because it's in those Blue Man Group seats that are meant to be sat in for like 90 minutes. It is so comfortable. It is almost dangerously comfortable, as I think you would agree to that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was shocked, like that. It was basically like sit where you want, and we got good seats. And then being like, wow, I don't feel like this is the first time. Honestly, it was the first time I've ever seen Grinchmas where I didn't feel like we were like packed in, like sardine cans. And I'm sure that won't be true of every showing. I'm sure when it's full and everybody wants to get in there, and it's a full show. But still, I feel like the seat, the actual physical seat that you're in, felt like it was just a little bit bigger than those like flip down bleacher seats they used to have in the other place. But I mean, it was definitely a much more enjoyable experience in here. But you get toward the end, and I was doing the whoa.
Yeah. And I didn't even mention that, I guess, in the the beginning of this with my whole rant about, or ravings about, how comfortable the seats are, because these are decent movie theater quality seats. They're decent theater seats. These are comfortable. They are not temporary by any means. They are padded. The room is well air conditioned. This sets you up to fall asleep. But as Ryno said, in our situation, this theater was maybe a third full. A lot of the lower areas where they had like VIP viewing and stuff for the holiday tour in situation like that, not filled at all. And then we were sitting in the upper section where it starts to go at a slope up, just very, very low slope at that, but still one nonetheless. We were parked right behind the soundboard, right in the middle. And I mean, we literally had our pick of pretty much any seat we wanted in this house. And that's only happened to me for Grinchmas like one time when I went on a random like Wednesday. And I think I did like 2 or 3 shows that day, and it was on the earlier side, but that doesn't matter. All we're talking about is this actual moment. And I was shocked. I was shocked because by the time we walked through the Lost Continent, the rest of the Wizarding World, the Lost Continent, the front of Seuss Landing, and made it to the actual entrance to Grinchmas, we had 10 or 15 minutes. It was cutting very close. And then we walked all the way back to Blue Man Group, and I was like, oh man, how bad are our seats going to be? And then we literally chose wherever we wanted to go. It was great.
I legit thought, I was like, oh no, we're going to have to end up waiting for the next show. We made it so far and they're just going to make us wait out here. And then it was just like, yeah, go wherever. And we were like, should we go? And like, we had one other guy in our row who would listen to the podcast too, who ended up there. So hello.
Yes. Yeah. Hello. But before we talk about our full thoughts on Grinchmas, now we obviously covered the seating area and such in a way overdone way. Let's go ahead and see/hear just a little bit of the show. Give us a taste before we give our thoughts.
Inside a snowflake, like the one on your sleeve, there happened a story you must see to believe. Way up in the mountains, in the high range of Seuss, laid a small town of Whoville, the home of the Who. Arbor Day was fine and Easter was pleasant, and every St. Vincent's Day they ate a fizz pheasant. But every Who knew from their 12 toes to their snout, they loved Christmas the most without a single Who doubt. Ask any Who, and they'll have this to say:
there's no place like Whoville around Christmas Day.
Back guys, Christmas is coming again. He's got a sleigh full that's not a staple. He's got stuff to drop on every stop of the way. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag. Christmas is here again.
But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought of a lie, and he thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot.
The fake Santa Claus lied.
You are not helping. There's a light on this tree. That won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and then I'll bring it back here.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came, somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from a store.
Ryno, I already said that I'm not a huge fan of Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular anymore. But what about you? You a fan? You enjoy it?
It's one of those, like, if it goes someday, I'd be sad to see, like, I'm sure the Grinch representation wouldn't leave, but it's a once a season for me because we do it for this. Like, it's because of, like, what you said. Like, I've seen it so many times now that I'm getting to the point now where it's like, I think I know all the lines, but I will say this about this year's performance that after you start to see it this many times, I think you can kind of recognize some people that come back. Like, I'm pretty sure that Cindy Lou Who has been there for a while now. But there were some new additions, I think, in the cast this year. And I feel like it added just a little bit of that livelihood and fresh. Like I was, in the beginning, it made it a little more exciting because I was like, oh, I don't think I've seen this Martha May Who before. And, or maybe I had, but it felt a little more, there was something just a little more about it. But the Grinch, I was thinking this year was like, I said to you as soon as the show was over, I was like, this guy's has to be a Beetlejuice or something, or has maybe performed as Beetlejuice because he had that type of role to him. But I mean, it's good. I mean, if you've never seen it before, I do think it's worth going to see, but it's long and, I don't know. It's hard for me because I watched that Jim Carrey movie so much that it's like, it's off just enough from it that it does this weird thing in my brain where it makes me like connect, disconnect. And so I feel a little like, sometimes when I'm watching it, but if you're normal, regular human being who's here on your vacation, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's what I said too, is if you haven't seen it before or it's been years, I think you'll like it. In terms of how it compares to past shows, I feel I watched a little bit of my video from 2019 and it was pretty much the exact same. And I think it was around 2017 or 2018 when they started to make some tweaks and adjustments to it and, do a little bit different stuff with the show. So yeah, it's this year there wasn't any significant changes besides the actual venue, but I do agree with what you said. I noticed way more diversity in terms of the casting for this, and that is of course always appreciated. And it definitely it's nice. It's nice to see new faces in some of these roles when you've seen the show year after year after year after year. It's at least little things like that are different. But yeah, for me, it just comes down to the fact that I don't love the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch. It's one of the biggest sins that Ron Howard has ever put into this world. And I I still love the story of the Grinch. I love the cartoon. I even love the Benedict Cumberbatch.
He loves the Benedict Cumberbatch.
I do. I do.
I don't like that one.
And that blows my mind. I think that one is so superior to the Jim Carrey version, but it all comes down to taste. I know I am definitely in the minority group of people who do not like the Jim Carrey Grinch. I'm sure there are others out there with me who will voice themselves as being in that group, but I know more people who enjoy that movie than dislike it, and that includes my wife. She loves that movie. So
the Benedict Cumberbatch or Jim Carrey?
Both.
Okay.
I think if she actually had one version that she didn't like, she would probably say the original cartoon. But I might be wrong about that. But I don't know if we've ever even watched it together. So I know she just loves the Jim Carrey one so much. And she loves the Benedict Cumberbatch one too. So yeah, I would say she'd probably vote out the original. Well, that's your loss. That's your loss. I know it's on a shelf behind you somewhere. Because we're
it's
hoarders.
not. I actually don't have that one.
No,
I know.
We're hoarders. Of course you have it. But anyways, that's our thoughts on Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular. Definitely check it out if you haven't before. If you're sleepy, you know what? Cozy up in one of those seats inside Blue Man Group Theater. You are going to love every little bit of it. And yeah, if you are hungry while you're waiting, there's also snacks being sold right outside of it. Lots of green snacks. Green snacks.
Green snacks, yeah.
You know what green snacks make?
I don't want to say it.
Happy people. Green snacks make happy people. So from our experience at Grinchmas through the whole nearly 30-minute take on that show, we went through it. And then right afterwards, we said, you know what? We're in that Grinch spirit. We must meet the green one himself, the main green one, Mean Joe Green, showing one day only. I'm not confident
Timothy
that
Green.
He's alive. But The Odd Life of Timothy Green?
The Odd Life of Timothy Green, yeah. The poster that not Michael Scott had in his office when Pam interviewed for the other job. The Bob Odenkirk character. Sorry. that episode was on the other day. Yeah, that meet and greet was an experience.
Yes.
I went in with the Grinch shirt, Grinch mask. I thought he was going to be like, wow. And he was like, this is uncomfortable.
Oh, no,
it
was
was
great.
better than the Grinch in the show, assuming they're not the same person. I don't know. But he was alive and with it, that one.
He absolutely was. Literally screaming at the top of his lungs. And we ruined it for you. It wasn't Timothy Green or Mean Joe Green. It was the Grinch that we went and met. He is.
Oh, yes.
I can't even remember what he's meeting in his gift shop. I'll just say that much. Right beside the entrance to High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride across the way from Moose Juice. And, you know where to find
Q is for Quandary. And the Honk Honkers, right down the street from Honk Honkers. The Hooters of Whoville.
I could not say it better than that myself. But yeah, we went and met him, and the line was probably 10, 15 minutes. And we were easily like 20 people deep. There was a lot of big families. So don't be necessarily scared off by the line. It could be a lot worse than it is. But the Grinch was so lively. Our Grinch was wearing a mask. I believe the Grinch can pick and choose when the Grinch wants to wear a mask. And in our case, the Grinch was wearing a mask and did not detract from any of it at all. He was screaming. He literally, with the group in front of us, they just kept going and going and going with pictures. And he got to the point where he literally took one of the fake trees apart and pulled the top off from the bottom and was just, he was having a blast. And it wasn't unexpected, but it was fun. It was special. I'm glad we ended up doing that because we were just going to leave. And, there's a Universal photographer there as well, too, snapping photos. They want you to buy it, but you don't have to. You can, take pictures with your phone, with your family, take a selfie with the Grinch. That's what we did.
Yeah, I don't think they were taking, I think somebody asked her and she's like, I can't take the picture for you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I was too afraid to ask. She looked very uninterested. The girl taking the pictures.
Yeah, she was just holding her remote and snapping pictures as she was going along there. But it's fine, just maybe bring friends so that way you can swap off on who's taking pictures and stuff. So that way you can get the most amount of people in your group in there and then do your big selfie. But definitely something I would recommend. And then there is no better way to end the night at Islands of Adventure than with the magic of Christmas at Hogwarts Castle. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. I did not have my good camera gear with me, so we're gonna take a brief look at it, but not the exact. It's not one that I recorded today. I will go back with my tripod and everything, but take a look at the show to give you an idea about it. Ryno, do the ghosts at the beginning freak you out?
Yeah. I always think the entrance is so haunting.
Yeah. I obviously the best part of the show is that it just keeps looping continuously with a little break in between shows. So that way it's not like overly done because you want crowds to be able to move about, disperse, go inside Hogwarts, get on Flight of the Hippogriff. It can get a little congested, but I'm glad that it just keeps looping the entire night until the park closes. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this will always be my favorite version of the show. Something about Harry Potter and Christmas just clicks. And, I am one of those people who I don't watch all of the Harry Potter movies around the holiday time. I typically will watch Sorcerer's Stone at least once. Maybe it's because of the Christmas section in it. Maybe did it come out around Christmas? I don't even remember.
Yeah. 1 and 2 came out in they were that November Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And then 3 was the first one that I think, because they were trying to do once a year. And then 3 was the first one that was like a year and a couple of months. So it came out in the summer. And then that's when they switched to that, it'll be November or June, back and forth sort of a thing.
But when that large Christmas tree is projected onto the main tower on Hogwarts, as something about it just gives me chills. I love this show. And the best part is, there's tons of spots to watch it from. You can watch it right down from the castle. You can watch it closer up by Hippogriff. You can watch it on the bridge going to Jurassic Park. Multiple different views that each one of them is pretty unique. I mean, the best one is looking straight up at Hogwarts, standing by the stage where the Frog Choir was performing earlier. But there's something I like about each side of the different views. It's something that you have to see if you're in the park at night, and you get a little firework action.
Yeah, I just like that they play it on that loop, so it's not like it makes it a little more non-committal, where it's like what you said, where it's like, okay, I didn't have to go out of my way, stand here and wait for forever just to be able to see it. Like, it's nice to be able to be like, okay, we ran through and we got it here at the tail end of the night or at the beginning of the night or something like that. So it feels much more conducive to your like attraction going plans and things like that, you know. And so, but yeah, I love the show. I hope it. I think they do just a great job with all the Harry Potter projection shows that they do.
I don't. This is one circumstance where I am happy it being the same exact thing every year. I don't really need this one to change. I don't know how you would change it too much. I mean, there's not extra source material to really pull from where they freshen it up.
It's a little. I mean, it's a little like interpretive. Not interpretive. I don't know. A little more. I don't know what do you call it when it's like. It's not like not like faces. It's like silhouettes and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's a little more. I don't know. Maybe it is interpretive. I don't ignore me.
I know what you're trying to say. It's,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, where it's a little more like somebody else could make another thing using these elements in a different kaleidoscope. In a different way, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I'm sure a different person out there could take the little bit of Christmas inside the Harry Potter movies and take that and interpret it all in a different way versus this one. But I am not creative enough to think about what I would change. So that's why I have the standpoint that I do. However, you are much more creative than I am. So maybe you're the person, Ryno. Maybe you're the person to do it. I applaud you for taking on that task.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, you will probably not get paid by Universal. They will probably not even accept you trying, but
this is how you get a restraining order at Universal.
Absolutely is. You know, there's only one way to go. But so, Ryno, I'm going to re-ask the question now that we're done talking about all of the entertainment that you can experience for the holidays at Islands of Adventure. Do you think just going there and only doing the holiday stuff at Islands of Adventure, that it's worth it just for that? And I'm not talking about like all the excellent rides that you can ride throughout the day. Of course, a single day at Islands of Adventure is incredible. But I'm talking solely if you said, okay, you're going in solely to watch the holiday entertainment and live in the holiday experience, is it just enough with the little bit that they offer there to push it over the edge?
I don't know. This is a pressuring question. Because you're asking me like saying like, if I go and I don't do anything but those specific things, is it worth the $100 and something ticket? I'm like, I don't know. No. I'm not even saying that. Is it worth the full ticket? I'm saying, is it worth your time? Is it worth the effort? Oh yeah, because okay,
as I said,
100%.
Of course, you're gonna also go and do Velocicoaster and Spider-Man. Like, you're just not gonna be like, nope, only doing Christmas stuff. Beat it, bozo. I'm watching Grinchmas 6 times over. No, of course you're going to do more stuff, but is it satisfying enough? I guess is how I should say it. Not is it worth it?
No, I do think it. I think it's satisfying. I think it ties into the parks so effortlessly. Like it all feels like it both has that holiday feeling to it, but it also doesn't feel out of place whatsoever in terms of it being like, well, here I am here at Christmas. It feels like, you know, with Harry Potter, the Hogsmeade, they have like snow on the buildings and the snowman and stuff. So it's like, it feels like that should always, that makes sense there. And the same with, they just interweave all the, or have all the like the entertainment in Seuss Landing, and then, you know, with like the decorations, it feels even more like what I imagine like a Seuss sort of thing is than it does normally. And normally it's already like overloaded, like Seuss insanity, like you stepped into one of the books or something like that. But so that's why I think they do a great job with it. I do think it's worth I absolutely think it is worth your time, especially after how our experience went. It felt very easy to be able to do it all. Like I have had experiences in the past where I feel like I got sunburned while I was waiting for the Grinchmas while it was in one of the other lands. So I feel like we got it on a moderately temperate day where it was, it was somewhere between, like, it was around 80 degrees today, I feel like, but the humidity wasn't like super high. I don't know. It was overcast. So it was like I wasn't bothered by the heat or the weather, and I felt like we were able to like just go up to the choir, go see the Grinch. Like nothing felt like it was too troublesome.
Nope.
Too intrusive on the day. So I definitely think it was worth it.
Here. I still stand by my point on it. If you're not necessarily a huge fan of the Jim Carrey Grinch, if you don't really care about Harry Potter, I don't know if you'll find a lot of value in terms of visiting Islands of Adventure for the holidays. But if you love the holidays if you love the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Harry Potter movies, I think you'll love the holidays there. If you love Jim Carrey's Grinch, I think you will love the Grinchmas Who-liday Spectacular, and obviously worth checking out. But that is it for our coverage on the holidays at Universal's Islands of Adventure. Of course, we will be back with more holiday coverage here as we get closer to Christmas, and we still have to talk about what's happening at Universal Studios Florida. We've got to talk about some special stuff happening in Universal City Walk with a little bit of food, which is always something that we appreciate.
And eggnog.
And we will be getting to that in the upcoming weeks. So I hope you stay tuned for the rest of our holiday coverage. And I just want to point out real quick that remember, if you are watching this on YouTube, you are now watching this again on the DIS Unplugged YouTube channel, youtube.com/DIS Unplugged, not youtube.com/UOFan, which we have decided to step away from and go back to the old method. So our shows are once again going to be on youtube.com/DIS Unplugged, and then our overviews and Ryno shopping at Universal, stuff like Halloween Horror Nights videos, those will all be found in the future on youtube.com/WDWinfo, our DIS YouTube channel. So if you are watching this video on YouTube and you enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the DIS Unplugged, and also leave comments, questions, and video suggestions in the comments section. And if you're an audio listener out there, nothing has changed for you. You're perfectly fine, but you already know that. And I appreciate you every single day of the week. I promise that. I promise. But yes, nothing has changed for you. Just make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. And if it's through Apple Podcasts and you enjoy the show, please leave us a 5-star rating and review if you have the time. It helps more people find the show. And that is the end goal, to keep us being able to do the show, is if we can keep finding a new audience. But the other way to help us is by, of course, booking a vacation to Universal Orlando through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Get that free, no obligation quote at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today. But that's going to do it for Ryno and I here. So Ryno, thank you so much for the fun, holly jolly conversation. Boom, nailed it.
Got it, nailed it. I don't have any sort of Christmas follow-up.
Well, maybe next year you'll find your holly jolly holiday madness and you'll be able to. I think I used that one too. So I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed right now.
I just, holly jolly. My God.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you again for that holly jolly conversation. Everyone out there, thank you so much for watching and listening. We appreciate each and every one of you this holiday season. But that's going to do it for us this week on the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. We'll see you again real soon with another episode. But remember, we still haven't changed the name.